Do you ever feel that quiet pull, that invisible ache that tells you your life could be more than this? That something vast hides beneath the surface of ordinary days, a truth that was never taught but always felt. For centuries, civilizations have built systems that reward conformity and obedience. Yet beneath their foundations runs an ancient current of knowledge, one that whispers that reality itself is not a prison, but a mirror. Nearly a century ago, in 1926, a small book appeared, just 28 pages long. Its message was too powerful, too disruptive to be allowed into the mainstream. The author, known only by the initials RHJ, claimed to have rediscovered a method, a precise, mechanical way of using consciousness to bend the probabilities of life itself. Not superstition, not luck, not blind faith, but conscious alignment. Imagine for a moment that your thoughts are not just fleeting sparks in your mind, but electromagnetic patterns that ripple through the fabric of existence. That the universe is not a distant stage, but an intelligent field that listens. This was the core message of the Forgotten Book, that your mind, when focused and ethically aligned, is a creative instrument capable of rearranging reality. The reason this teaching was hidden is simple. When people know they can create, they become ungovernable. Systems built on fear begin to crumble. The machinery of control, political, economic, religious, depends on your belief that you are powerless. But what if that belief is the very illusion that holds you captive? The world after World War I was a world of trauma, debt, and despair. The masses sought security. Leaders promised safety in exchange for obedience. Yet amid the chaos, RHJ suggested something heretical. That reality responds not to authority but to consciousness. That thought is causal, not passive. That mind precedes matter. Modern physics would echo this decades later. The observer effect, wave-particle duality, the collapse of probability by attention. But RHJ didn't need quantum equations to see what mystics and seers already knew. That human consciousness is participatory. That it is not trapped inside the skull, but woven into the living field that generates form. The book's instructions were disarmingly simple. Write down what you want. Be specific. Read your list daily in silence. Act as though your wish is already fulfilled. Never speak of it to anyone. Not because it is magical secrecy, but because words are vibrations and doubt is contagious. Every time you expose a seed too soon to cold air, it loses life. The mind must incubate desire the way earth incubates a seed, in stillness and darkness. He warned of something modern neuroscience now confirms. That emotion anchors thought into reality. To think without feeling is to build castles in fog. Gratitude and ethical intention are not moral decorations. They are frequencies that tune your consciousness to resonance with life's higher order. To wish selfishly, to manipulate, to harm, these disrupt the field, creating waves of resistance that return to the originator. Karma or feedback, depending on what lens you choose. Think about this. If a society discovered that thought and emotion shape matter, what would happen to hierarchies built on scarcity and fear? The answer explains why this knowledge has been ridiculed, diluted, or buried beneath the noise of materialism. Because control thrives on unconsciousness. Because an awakened population no longer needs intermediaries between themselves and the divine. But the book was more than metaphysics. It was a quiet revolution. Its power lies in its practicality. There is nothing mystical about writing down a desire. The alchemy happens in the combination of clarity, repetition, and emotion. A clear mind emits a coherent signal. Repetition amplifies it. Emotion energizes it. Together, they create a resonance, a vibrational signature that the quantum field translates into form. Modern research into neuroplasticity, psychosomatic health, and quantum biology all point to the same principle, that consciousness organizes energy into structure. Your beliefs, sustained over time, harden into probability. Your emotions, repeatedly felt, sculpt perception. In short, the outer world bends around your inner alignment. R.H. J insisted that ethical conduct is non-negotiable. Desire without virtue becomes corruption. The creative field magnifies both love and greed, harmony and chaos. If your motive is selfish, the echo returns distorted. The law is impartial, like gravity. It simply reflects. Those who experimented with these teachings began to notice something strange: coincidences that were too precise, opportunities that defied logic, meetings that arrived like clockwork. Some called it luck, others called it synchronicity, but the deeper truth was that they were no longer merely reacting to life, they were co-writing it. The elite have always known this, at least in fragments. From ancient mystery schools to modern think tanks, those who rule study psychology and symbolism, the architecture of belief. They understand that perception creates reality, so they shape perception. Advertising, politics, even education are forms of directed imagination. But when you reclaim your inner narrative, their influence fades. The spell breaks. This is why the book matters today more than ever. We live in an age where attention is currency and distraction is weaponized. To reclaim your attention is to reclaim your creative sovereignty. Every image you absorb, every emotion you entertain, is an act of creation. And most people spend their lives creating unconsciously for others, feeding systems that drain rather than empower. Imagine billions of people realizing that they are co-creators, not spectators. The world's economic and political structures would tremble. Scarcity would give way to sufficiency, competition to cooperation. Fear would dissolve into creative curiosity. That is the real revolution, not one fought in streets but in minds. Yet this revolution demands discipline. The hardest part is not writing your goals, it is maintaining faith when nothing seems to move. Doubt, like rust, corrodes intention. You will be tested by appearances that contradict your desire. That is when belief becomes creation. When you act in harmony with what you claim to believe, even before evidence appears, you prove to the universe that you are ready to receive. This is what all mystics have said in different tongues. Faith is not blind belief, but alignment with unseen structure. The seed does not question the soil, it simply grows. The mind must do the same. As quantum physics began to unravel the mysteries of matter, a strange symmetry appeared. The same principles R.H.J. spoke of in 1926 now echo in laboratories around the world. The observer affects the observed. Consciousness collapses probability. Reality at its core is participatory. It is not a dead mechanism, but a dialogue. This understanding bridges science and spirit. The field that physicists describe, the zero-point field, the unified field, is what mystics call the divine mind. Energy and awareness are two faces of the same coin. The ancients prayed, moderns visualize. The mechanism is identical. Focused thought charged with emotion creates alignment between the inner and the outer. But what does it mean to live this truth today, in a world ruled by noise? It means remembering that your mental diet is as critical as your physical one. Every headline, every algorithm, every outrage designed to hijack your nervous system steals your creative energy. The elite do not need to chain your body if they can occupy your attention. The modern matrix is made of impulses, not iron. To escape it, you must redirect your attention consciously. Begin with silence. Spend 10 minutes each day withdrawing from the static. Write down what you truly want, Not what you think you should want, but what your soul longs for when no one is watching. Read it daily. Feel gratitude as if it were already yours. And then act. Not because you must force the outcome, but because every action tells the universe, I am participating in my own creation. This is not escapism, it is responsibility. Once you know that consciousness creates, every complaint becomes a declaration, every doubt an order. The field does not judge, it obeys. To manifest chaos while blaming others is to misunderstand the mirror. Creation begins with coherence. That is why the original text warned against harming others. To use this force selfishly is to set yourself against the current of life. The field seeks harmony. When you align with that, synchronicity flows effortlessly. Doors open, help arrives, ideas crystallize at the right time. But if you use it for control or vanity, resistance multiplies. Energy that could have built worlds collapses into turmoil. The book's subtle genius was its moral compass. It did not promise power without responsibility. It invited maturity to create as life creates, abundantly, compassionately, inclusively. Those who practiced it long enough often reported an unexpected side effect: peace. The noise of fear diminished, replaced by a quiet confidence that life itself is intelligent. In modern language, you might call this coherence, the alignment of heart and mind, thought and feeling. Neurocardiology now shows that the heart generates its own electromagnetic field that influences the brain. When you think with gratitude, the heart and brain synchronize, producing measurable harmony in the body. This is not poetry, it is physiology. So perhaps RHJ wasn't writing metaphysics at all. Perhaps he was describing early consciousness engineering, centuries before the term existed. He understood that attention, emotion, and ethics are the levers of creation. The hidden elite, the manipulators of mass perception, use these same principles, but inverted. They feed fear instead of love, confusion instead of clarity, division instead of unity. Because a divided mind cannot create coherently. To escape the matrix, you do not fight it, you outgrow it. You rise above its vibration. You stop feeding it your outrage and your despair. Every time you center yourself, every time you choose gratitude over complaint, you reclaim creative power. You re-enter the current of life that no empire can control. Imagine millions of people doing this, no protests, no slogans, just quiet, radiant coherence spreading like light through cracks in a dark system. That is what terrifies those who rule through fear, not rebellion, but remembrance. Because once people remember who they are, control becomes impossible. And this is the hidden meaning of "it works." It does not merely work to get you things. It works because it reconnects you with the intelligent field that made you. It replaces desperation with creative responsibility, confusion with clarity, servitude with sovereignty. Reality, you see, is not fixed. It is responsive. Every thought is a proposal to the universe. Every emotion is a signature of intent. The question is not whether you are manifesting, you always are. The question is, what are you manifesting unconsciously? Anxiety, division, or vision and peace? If you want to test this, try it for 30 days. Write 3 desires with total clarity. Read them daily, feel them as done, act accordingly, and tell no one. Observe how the field rearranges itself. You will notice not magic but precision. Patterns shift. Conversations change. Circumstances realign. You realize that reality was never static, only your attention was. And when enough individuals align their minds in harmony, collective reality bends. Wars lose fuel because fear loses attention. Economies reorganize because greed loses resonance. The world you thought was solid begins to soften. revealing that the boundary between thought and matter was never real. Perhaps that is what RHJ truly meant, that heaven and earth are not separate realms, but degrees of awareness. To awaken is to see that the universe is participatory, that creation is ongoing, and you are invited to participate. So as you finish listening, remember, no government, corporation, or ideology can imprison the creative field. You are part of it, you are it. What you hold in your attention is what the world becomes. The secret was never hidden by the elite. It was hidden by disbelief, and disbelief was taught to you. Now the veil lifts, the mirror clears, and the universe waits for your next thought.